What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I created Lario. It's Mario but left, as you saw by the title. I've been creating it in the last, let's say 3 to 4 days. For the game, I created all my own graphics and animations, backgrounds, all that stuff, and audio included. Yeah, so there's a few bumps along the road, and I will be sure to include those. And with that, let's get into the video. So I created a few rules for myself. Number one was that I was going to create my own graphics and animations for all the characters. And number two was that I was going to use controller input. So with that, let's create the game. So first I started by creating all the sprites for my game. So I created the player first, which I called Lario. It actually turned out to look more like a lumberjack kind of vibe in there. I don't know what that was, but I thought it looked cool. The animation wasn't great, to be honest. It kind of looked like he was just like moonwalking back and forth. Yeah. Anyway, and then I created the background, which I think was really cool. It's also really easy because pixel art is quite easy in that way. And I also created the tile set, which was again quite easy because I just copied and pasted different sides. Yeah, so that was it for the animation. And then with all my graphics created in Illustrator, I hopped over to Unity and created a new project. So I imported all my assets and then got to developing. So first I created a basic level with the time map system in Unity. The next logical step was to create movement. So I created the movement with a tutorial from Brackeys, which I suggest checking out. I will leave a link in the video description. So I created that and it was working all fine. There were some kinks along the way. There's started flying for some reason, so that was a thing. Gotcha. You think it'd be that easy? It wasn't. There was this one issue where whenever the player would get close to a block, it would just rub up against it and it would like just stop in midair. It would like pin it, which I didn't really make sense. Here's a clip of it happening. Well, actually there's gonna be a bunch. I never actually fixed it. But I did find a way to make it better. Was I changed the friction of the block, which actually made it a big difference, but of course it still did get pinned once in a while. Next I created the player animation. There were some kinks along the way. Most notably was I didn't create a path from the animation, the going right and going left, so that if I just switched direction really fast it would just skip over. And yeah, so there's a few issues. It wasn't that bad. Next step was to create the enemies, which I think are called Goombas in Mario. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Those were actually, there were some parts that were easy, some parts that weren't. It was actually very easy to get them moving. However, the collision was quite difficult because notice when you're playing Mario, you don't just, if you hit them, you die. But then if you also hit them in a different place, you live. So that was kind of difficult to figure out. So I just created 2 hitboxes, one for the top and one for like around it, so that if you ran into it head on, you would die. But then if you jumped on it, you would live. It took a little tweaking, some like fixing to make the boxes equal, and then also have it not react based on the other one, so I had to make it a trigger. But all in all, it actually it worked eventually. I mean, it's still, there's like a middle ground, so if you like hit it from an angle, you don't really know what's happening, but in a general sense it's not bad. Next was implementing the enemy animation, which was quite simple. It was just always do this animation because I had the same animation from going left to right, so it was quite simple. Next was implementing the audio, which was quite simple. I had the 2 audio tracks. The one was from the Flappy Bird game, the 1 hour challenge. If you want to go check that out, I'll have a card at the top that you can go and press and check that out. I used the audio from that, and then I also created a death audio and a player die audio. The player die audio, it's quite perfect. That's all I can say about that. The next part was kind of on the fly, because I needed to figure out what to do when the player died. I was thinking just to show a game over, but then where's the fun in that? So I created this masterpiece. Just look at it. Pure perfection. I use that to create the classic Mario effect, Mario death scene where Bowser like shoots in from the back and just like covers the screen pretty much in black. That was very kind of fun to make, but you'll notice that my Illustrator skills are quite lacking. But nonetheless, I think it wasn't too bad. Next was the controller part. This part was actually quite fun when it actually worked, because I kind of love using a gamepad and controlling it on a computer. That part was sick. So I used this tutorial from Brackeys. Yeah, again. But I feel like it turned out good in the end. I used the new Unity input system, which is absolutely amazing, but allows for so much more ease of use, so it was pretty good. And then the controller I used was the Logitech F310. Finally, I created the finishing flag, and then I added some collision detection to detect the player, and with that, you have this. Wow! There's Lario. There's my process and all the mistakes I had along the way. This part's totally optional, but if you wanted to enjoy this, consider hitting the like button. And if you believe the content's worth it and you're feeling extra generous, consider hitting the subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. And I will see you next week. Bye bye.